we have a podcast.
Diving deep into all things Texans, both on and off the field. Here's Sean Pendergast and Pro Football Hall of Famer, the General, John McClain. Welcome to Houtopia.
Are you ready to do a little preview of this Cleveland wildcard game, John, with the Texans on Saturday? A little six-pack?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it. John and I preview every Texans game, and this is obviously the biggest one to play game, an actual playoff game at NRG Stadium. 3:30 on Saturday, the Texans invitational spot, we call that. 3:30 on Saturday afternoon during wildcard weekend. The Texans facing off against the Cleveland Browns, who they just faced off against 3 weeks ago and got destroyed 36-22 in a game that wasn't even that close. It wasn't as close as it was on the scoreboard. Now, of course, that was Case Keenum and Davis Mills. This will be C.J. Stroud under center for the Texans, so it should be a whole different complexion for this game than the one a few weeks ago. That said, the Browns are a 3-point favorite as of this podcast in this game. I think they were a 3.5-point favorite when they faced the Texans with Davis Mills and Case Keenum at quarterback a few weeks ago. So the overall opinion really hasn't changed much from going into that game 3 weeks ago versus this game now, as far as the odds makers are concerned. We do a six-pack. Storylines, coaches, players, position groups, whatever, that are going to impact the outcome of this game, and then we'll give our predictions. John, you go first.
I'm going to start with the secondary in general, Derek Stingley Jr. in particular. Joe Flacco burned him big time, 365, I think it's 60-something, 84. I'm not sure. It was so many yards. It's the most he's thrown for. And Amari Cooper caught 11 for 265, 2 touchdowns. They have got to improve the big plays. Flacco had 6 completions of 20 or more yards, starting with that early 52-yarder to Cooper on the first play. I think that they will play better. I'm not sure about pressure on Flacco. They couldn't get pressure on him before, and Garon Christian was one of their offensive tackles. It was amazing, and he had too much time to throw. And then when they did give some pressure, he showed his mobility, which is not much, but he can still move. And so I think Stingley, whose rating against him was over 100, and for the year he's been fantastic, somewhere in the 50s. He gave up 1 touchdown, and he had 1 interception. But he needs to have a big game and lead that secondary to have a much better game than they had on Christmas Eve.
Yep, I agree with that one, John, for sure. The secondary's got to tighten things up. If Jalen Petrie doesn't feel motivated and bring his A game on Saturday, I don't know what to do, because that was Petrie's lowest moment as a pro in that game. He got benched in that game on in week 16. So I'm with you on that. My first one is going to be the non-Nico Collins wide receivers. We got news yesterday. Robert Woods was back at practice. That was great news. We'll see about Noah Brown today. I don't feel great about that. He's missed a few games, and I know the injury report lists back or something. Noah Brown's got multiple injuries going right now. He's banged up. If they got him back, that would be a godsend right now, that you could actually trot 3 veteran wide receivers out there when you're in 3 wide receiver formations and not go to that drastic drop-off where either Hutchinson or Mechie, basically 2 rookies. Mechie's basically a rookie, that one of them would need to be on the field. And I think Nico Collins, he ain't going for 9 catches, 195 against this team. These are big boy cornerbacks. The Browns got Grant Delpit back yesterday. Their safety out of LSU, who had been on injured reserve. So he's going to be back. So their secondary got another piece. Nico had 4 catches for 18 yards the last time these two teams played. A lot of that was probably who was delivering the football to him. But point being, the Colts did nothing to take away Nico Collins. I think Jim Schwartz will figure out a way to try to take away Nico Collins, and thus C.J. Stroud is going to have to get other guys involved. So the non-Nico wide receivers, to me, are a big key. They're going to need somebody to step up with 5 or 6 or 7 catches outside of just Nico Collins.
That's a great one, and I'm going to stay on defense because I'm guessing Jonathan Grenard's out again. Just hurts their pass rush big time. Will Anderson Jr. is not going to be 100% before next season. The only thing you can do for a high ankle sprain is a little rest and rehab. And so Derek Barnett, who in the last 4 games among edge rushers, according to Pro Football Focus, Derek Barnett has a rating of 90.7. That is second in the NFL behind Myles Garrett at 93.1. In those games, he's got 16 pressures. So Derek Barnett has been a godsend since he was signed after Philadelphia released him. And he's one of the many players playing for money, new contract somewhere, if not for here. And so I think the pass rush, I feel good about their interior pass rush. They got to get something from the edge because Anderson is so limited. And I think that Derek Barnett needs to keep playing like he's playing.
Yeah, he's been, I mean, that's been a great pickup for Nick Caserio and Miko Ryans. Derek Barnett off the waiver wire is a huge, huge W for this team. As long as we're talking interior, John, I'll flip it the other way for my next one. And what I'll call the law offices of Scruggs, Dieter, and Mason. They need to bring their game on Saturday against the Browns. When the Texans have broken down in terms of protection, oftentimes this season, especially as the season's gone on, it's been in the interior. That's when CJ is Williams coming up the interior. When that Titans game looked like it was the first Titans game in Tennessee, looked like it was kind of circling the drain a little bit late in the game and in overtime. Why? Because Denico Autry blew up the game coming up in the interior. DeForest Buckner made some plays last week. Now that's excusable. They actually did a pretty good job against the Colts last week. That's what they need to do. It's not just Myles Garrett. That whole front for Cleveland is pretty talented. And I always feel like, the quarterbacks always say, the guys coming off the edge, especially the ones that are in your view, coming off, let's say, the right side for CJ Stroud, you can handle those. And on the blind side, you got Laramie Tunsil. He'll be okay over there. It's the pressure up the middle that doesn't allow you to step into your throws that really cause problems. So, to me, the interior, the three guys, left guard, center, right guard for the Texans on the interior are one to watch for me.
And keep in mind, defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who's in his first year with the Browns, he wants another shot at being a head coach. To do that, you've got to win. And if you make a big splash when you're getting after the quarterback, it causes people to notice. So I think they're going to do everything they can to get after Stroud. And as Bobby Slowick said this week, they've got to get rid of the ball fast, and I think they will. Now, my next one is Bobby Slowick. Bobby Slowick and C.J. Stroud. Bobby has had 3 teams request interviews, maybe more, but can you imagine how many are going to reach out to him if they upset the Browns? They're already talking about in Baltimore, Flacco coming home to play in the divisional round. They're talking in Cleveland about Flacco going home for the divisional round. And if they were to pull off an upset of the Browns in this game and them go to Baltimore, that would only strengthen Bobby Slowick's credentials and might get him to get another $1 million or $2 million a year offer from one of those teams. So I think Bobby Slowick and getting Stroud to get rid of the ball fast is going to be paramount.
Yep, it's a big game for Slowick. Every game's a big game for Slowick at this point because they're all on big stages. I thought the Colts game on Saturday night when CJ wound up getting Offensive Player of the Week this week because of that performance, I thought Bobby called a masterful game. Now, it also helps to have CJ Stroud throwing off his back foot to Nico Collins on 2nd and 14 and zipping his lasers to guys as he's getting drilled by defensive linemen. But I thought Bobby called a good game. My last one, John, isn't a person or a coach or anything like that. They just need to get off to a faster start. Too often this year, they've gotten off slow starts, and I'm not just saying against Cleveland in Week 16. There was a stretch of several games, ironically games that they were winning by and large, where they were giving up touchdowns on the first drive to the opposing team pretty frequently. I remember Cincinnati they did. Kyler Murray hit a big touchdown 3 plays into the game. There was a stretch where they were falling behind by double digits in games, and amazingly, they were coming back and winning a lot of them. Cleveland was not one of them. In that Cleveland game, they allowed the opening kickoff to go back to about the 40-yard line. And then the very first play from scrimmage was that one you mentioned, the deep shot to Amari Cooper. So, they basically get 90 yards on the first 2 plays, 40 in the return game and then 50 in the passing game. And honestly, I felt like, okay, well, this just isn't their day. Like this is how it's going to be. They can't afford to get off to a slow start against this team. I think there's going to be a lot of Cleveland people at the game too, is my guess. So Energy Stadium, it's a home game and so on and so forth. But I think Cleveland, the sense I get, Cleveland is traveling for this game just from talking to people. So they need to, it sounds weird. They need to make sure and take the opposing crowd out of the game at this game and not allow Cleveland fans to kind of take over NRG Stadium. That's just where we're at right now, John. You and I have talked about this. The complete replenishing of fans at NRG Stadium on a week-to-week basis is going to be a one-year delay kind of thing. I feel really good that the crowds are going to be rocking next year and that opposing fans may not be able to take over the stadium as readily.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine why they wouldn't be rocking in this game because they can't sell this ticket before the season when the schedule comes out. And so it'll be pathetic if they sell their tickets to Browns fans, but they can't help it. And I think this about this game, it wouldn't surprise me. And I'm guessing you feel the same way. I'm not going to pick the Texans, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if Stroud did not lead them to an upset and those interceptions that Flacco throws finally come back to bite him in the butt. Yeah. And so the Browns should win. Flacco's been a tremendous quarterback, but what we've seen Stroud do is just incredible. And he may have another one or two incredible games in him.
Well, John, prediction time. So no may have about it. Does he have a game like that in him? What's your prediction for this game?
I'm going with the Browns to win this game 24-20.
Okay. I got the Browns as well. I got the Browns 23-17 in this game. So I think the Browns are going to win as well. And John, as you know, the good news is I am always wrong lately on the Houston Texans. I think I've been wrong on my picks for literally like the last 6 weeks. So Texan fans getting ready to listen to this or listening to this podcast, getting ready to hit me on social media to be angry with me, just know that I have anointed the Texans onto the divisional round. Again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. If you want to see more of our videos, be sure to check out our playlist and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Also, don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.